Hi dancers, welcome to SKR Yoga and Wellness, and welcome to this tutorial for APPAREL Koundinyasana A variation. So this is an arm balance that extends from a side crane position, so it does have a pretty extreme twist in the balance. I do have another class on my channel that is a full class that journeys to this peak pose. So we work on strengthening the parts of the body that we need in order to achieve this posture. But in this video, I am actually just going to give you a more detailed breakdown of how to get into this posture and some do's and don'ts for those of you that are maybe just learning this very cool arm balance. So I don't have anything here, but it is a good idea, especially if this is the first time you're doing this, to maybe have a block handy or even just a pillow, because of course, whenever we're doing an arm balance of any kind, it can be a little bit scary, and that fear can sometimes cause hesitation. So just having a pillow nearby will help eliminate that fear of falling, because you'll know you'll have a soft landing. And block is very helpful to help with balance. You can use it just to balance your forehead as almost a third arm to help you find that support and just kind of figure out where the legs need to go, and then eventually moving that block farther and farther away so that you can find your balance. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to break down how you would get into a side crane and then come on out of it, and then explain how we extend out into the full Koundinyasana variation. So some do's and don'ts before we come into this side crane. Most importantly, and this is something I have to remind myself as well, but most importantly, you need to remember to breathe. It's very common in any kind of balance to hold our breath, and you want to make sure that flow of oxygen is still coming in and out to your muscles, especially when we're balancing. It's very important. We also want to make sure that your shoulders stay down away from your ears so they're not creeping up and shortening your neck. Neck nice and long, and you want to keep your elbows in line with your shoulders so they're not splaying open. So we're going to go ahead and take your arms here, twisting towards the right, and then hook your front elbow behind your knee and your back elbow onto your hip. And now you're going to take this shape and just tip it over into your balance. You want to keep your core nice and strong and engaged here, and you want to feel that everything is really pulling into the center to help you with balance. So I'm going to go ahead and tip myself over to find this side crane, and you can always float this bottom foot up and down as I am here, just to find your balance, and then once you do, hanging on to that posture. Remembering to breathe, and to come out of it just very softly, place your feet back down onto the mat and push yourself back up. Now, another very important thing to think about is to make sure, especially once we come into the full variation, extending out your legs, that your head does not dip below the line of your shoulders. So you want to keep your head and your torso in one long line, and that also goes hand in hand with whether or not you're collapsing into your shoulders or keeping them sliding down your back. Especially when we extend our legs out, it adds a lot more weight. So what happens typically is we try to lift the legs because of how much weight there is, but what happens then is the forehead and everything else tips forward. So we want to keep everything in one long line. So all that's going to happen is the leg that is hooked to your elbows is just going to extend forward towards the line of your eyes, you could say, for me towards the camera. And then your top leg is going to extend out this way. So if these were my legs, I'm making sort of an L shape. And it helps to flex the feet. For me, I reach out through the soles of my feet to find that nice long line and keep that energy moving to help with balance. Remembering the key points to keep the core engaged, keep breathing most importantly, and to keep the elbows, shoulders, all of this locked in nice and strong. So I'm just going to do it to the other side just to even myself out in my twists here, but feel free to practice whatever side you would like to practice first. And I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it here. So we go into it exactly the same as we would for side crane. So taking your hands, twisting on over, hooking your elbows, and then go ahead and plant your palms down. Shifting your weight, finding that good solid hook, and then extending the legs. Holding as long as you'd like here, remembering to breathe. To come out of it, come back to side crane before you softly place your feet back down onto the mat. And that is everything for today. Just a very short tutorial for our Koundinyasana, APPAREL Koundinyasana variation with our bottom leg hooked onto the elbows. If you liked this video, please like and do subscribe to SKR Yoga and Wellness. I put out new videos with full classes every single Friday. So thank you so much for doing this tutorial with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.